watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Right, Chris.
Lovely. I've been muting myself all day. Hi, how are you? Welcome all to LTID TV, where we're here previewing the Saturday's game against Huddersfield Town. Obviously, the Foxes won the massive M69 derby, because everybody knows it's not a derby unless it's got a motorway named after it. So we're feeling a bit happier than we were. Obviously, we topped that off with a lovely 2-0 win last night against Burton Albion in the Cup, so we're obviously going to win that as well. We have got a lovely special guest, Tom from Huddersfield, who's going to be giving his thoughts on the game, and maybe I might mention Plymouth. Don't mention Plymouth. We've got away with it so far. He might not have heard it. We won't mention Plymouth. And of course, I'm joined by the wise owl, that is Craig, in the background waiting patiently. If you are new to the channel, then do make sure you're first hitting the subscribe button and giving this channel lots of love by hitting the like button as well. I can see there's lots of you in there patiently watching and waiting for the better looking people to come in. So I won't keep you much longer. First of all, introducing our guest. I don't know if he's all the way from Huddersfield, but he wears Huddersfield on his heart and sleeve. He is Tom, a Huddersfield fan. Tom, how are you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad. How are you? You good?
I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad at all. Let me see if I can sort these screens out. There we go. So, Tom, I don't want to mention the Plymouths. We won't go in there. But how are you feeling this afternoon, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I mean, we can touch on Plymouth. I think you kind of mentioned it when we were just about to go on air. It can be really difficult, can't it, playing a team who's just come up, because they've got that kind of bounce. Town didn't actually play that bad, really. It was just one of those classics, a bad kind of 6 minutes where we conceded those 2 goals in the second half, and it just killed us. Yeah,
momentum's a strange thing. I always say that when you get a newly promoted side, no matter what league you're in, it's like an FA Cup banana skin. It's there to be had, and everybody, apart from yourselves, want to see it happen in a weird way. It's the joys of football. Speaking of joyful things, I couldn't get anybody else that was joyful in, so I'm stuck with my joint co-host Craig. Craig, bring joy to the people when I bring you in properly. He says, "Will I figure this out? One day I will." There we go.
I'm sure you're a pro.
I am. Natural, mate. Natural born pro. How you doing, Craig?
I'm good, thanks, Brad. I'm all good. Yeah. 2 wins in, 2 games, 2 wins. Let's enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, it's a bit easy, this Championship and League Cup malarkey, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah. I managed to watch a rerun of the Burton game. I think Mark Albrighton said it was professional.
Yes.
I think that's about all you can say. It was a little bit soporific at times, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think saying it's professional is the professional's way of saying it was kickabout. Because it wasn't the hardest of games, was it, Craig? Quite contrast to Coventry.
No, it was. I was a little bit disappointed, and I shouldn't be, because we've gone out to lower league opposition enough times, so I should have just taken the win. But then, that there's more there, and when it just seems like it's all a little bit slow, then it's a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, I did nearly fall asleep. Now, Tom, one thing I may have thought wise to have checked up is Huddersfield did they recover from the Plymouth thing, or have you decided to sack off the Mickey Mouse Cup? Did you go through? I can't remember your results. There was that many games going on.
We played Borough and lost 3-2. We played at home. We are notoriously terrible in the Carabao Cup. I think it is something like, it might be 12 years since we last went past the first stage of that cup. So, and then I think we only got to the third round. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those cups that it just doesn't work for us. But I mean, Warnock put out a pretty young side. He played a lot of the youngsters. A couple of them impressed, I think, which is going to be interesting going into Saturday. But I mean, we were down to 10 men for, I think it was about 75 minutes of the game as well. So 3-2 against Borough. And it's not the worst scoreline when you've got a load of youngsters out there and just 10 men. But yeah, like I said, doesn't like us, that cup anyway.
It was a favourite cup of ours through the late 90s, wasn't it, Craig? That's a cup we prided ourselves on.
It was. We enjoyed it, yeah. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 Wembley trips, I think, out of that.
Yeah, to stack them.
Mm.
Oh, sorry, Craig.
And obviously we got a rerun of the final when we were drawn against Tranmere. So
yes, which was a blessing in disguise, because me and Craig were going. Me and Chris, were doing the draw live after the watch along, and I was thinking, what does be last out? And of course, Tranmere came out, and we were first out. It was nice. I'd like the same outcome, maybe not as close a game as it was in that final, but we do like a good cup run.
I thought you might be using a small ping pong ball instead of a microphone today, like Martin O'Neill was doing last night.
Well, I thought about it, but after some of his comments about the game, I chose not to. I mean, yeah. Tom, you touched on your manager there, Neil Warnock. Obviously, he came in, for his 97th retirement in 3 years, but he came out of retirement yet again because he's sick of being at home with his wife. Apparently, she wanted him out of the house as well. So, were you happy to get him reappointed in, or were you maybe thinking a bit of a change of direction, or where do you stand with him?
When he came in, it was kind of a win-win for him, because if we'd have gone down, people wouldn't have cared, because we had one. He's a legend of Huddersfield, so we'd have had him for the end of the season, and then he keeps us up, and he just makes that mantle of being a legend even more. Like, people calling for a statue outside the stadium and everything after that. So, and I think now with the takeover, so we've just been taken over by an American conglomerate, is that what you call it? Probably. But it's a man called Kevin Nagel, and there's actually a really interesting Q&A going on in Huddersfield Town Centre today with him and a bunch of fans. So if you're interested in looking at what he's been saying, that'll be all over Twitter at the moment. But I think it's the right decision to keep him on. I think it's quite good that they twisted his arm to stay for another year, because he had a bit of a health scare at the end of the year, and I think Sharon, his wife, was a bit like, "Oh, I don't know, Neil," but he got the buzz from the fans, which is really nice to hear as well. And I think if someone's going to kind of stabilise us, which I think we need at the moment, it's quite a big transition we're getting. First ever foreign owner. We've just had local owners this whole time, so it's quite a big transition. This guy sounds like he wants to do a lot with Huddersfield as a town as well, not just the football side of things. So what he's saying is quite exciting. So, but I think there's a bit of there's some kind of financial fair play kind of going on at the moment. So we're being a bit restricted with who we're signing, given the fact that we haven't signed anyone yet this year. So, spent money on them. Sorry. And I just think Warnock is the person that you can at least say, look, he's going to get 100% out of every player. And if someone's going to keep him up in probably the most competitive championship we've had in absolutely years, it's this guy.
If you've got Tom, if you've got American owners, at least you know that you've got Jesse Marsh waiting there.
Yeah, Craig. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a wise man, isn't he? He knows all about football. I definitely didn't spend the whole entirety of last season slating Leeds for having him as a manager and cursing his name when he was with us. I mean, it's an exciting time, and obviously new ownerships. We know there's certain owners out there that it doesn't always go to plan. Do you think are you, obviously then you're hoping that work will be done in January? I mean, what's the areas of strength that Neil Mr. Warnock will need to look at, assuming he's not going to be able to get much or any business done in these couple of weeks?
I think we've got one of the best goalkeepers in the league. So I think the thing this window with him was he going to go to Luton, and thankfully Luton picked up that lad from, was it Swansea or something the other day? Anyway, Luton picked up a keeper, so we think we've kept hold of Nichols, which is good. I think as defence is all right at the moment. I wouldn't say it's more backup maybe that we need there, but midfield we're lacking midfield. We've got a very aging Jonathan Hogg as your most senior pro, and then the gap between him and everyone else is insane. You've got David Kasumu, who's probably your most next experienced midfielder, who I think is only 24, and we signed him from MK Dons last season. He did well, but it's a lot to ask for, do you know what I mean, players of this age to kind of step up. And then, I mean, it's on every bloody team's wish list, isn't it, a striker? But we seem a bit dead in the water at the moment. We've got Danny Ward, bless him. I'd say he's a town legend. He's been here a lot. But aging Danny Ward, Jordan Rhodes, who's potentially going to Derby in the next coming days anyway, and then a couple of young lads, Kyle Hudlin, 6'9" Kyle Hudlin, and Kian Harrott from the academy.
No, sounds like a well balanced side. I mean, you're only a couple of years outside of being, from your time in the Premiership, which maybe didn't go as well as you were hoping. When you first, obviously, I'll ask you about how it must have felt to be in the Premiership after this. But what was your expectations when you got relegated? Because me, Craig, and Chris, and all of us in the comments, which I'll get to the eagerly waiting people comments in a minute, but we've kind of not narrowed our expectations, haven't we, Craig? We're not thinking, straight back up. We know ideally we'd want to go straight back up, but we're almost accepting that if there needs to be a bit of time, that would be the case. We're happy for it as long as we can see the right direction on the pitch. Was that the same for you? Is that the feeling around Huddersfield, that maybe it's going to be a little bit of work before you get back up there, or are you putting your name in the hat to hopefully be in that playoff or maybe even automatic mix?
I mean, first season Prem, absolutely loved it. It was an absolute dream. Went to some away games, beat some big boys, absolutely brilliant. Second season, just one of the worst. But like from then, we've just had really a bad. I think it's like 6 years, a really bad 6 years since we went down. That season we went down. We had that one-off 2 years ago where we got to the playoff final, and Forest kind of. Well, we'll speak less about John Moss at the moment. Yeah. And I mean that changes a lot, Brad. I mean, I don't think we were really set up that season either to kind of go back. The one thing that Town fans wanted, the thing we were sold when we went up was, that set Huddersfield kind of to be a competitive championship club if we ever go back down. And then we went back down, and we had 2 terrible years. One good year, and then last year was terrible. So it's kind of like, we'll see what's going to happen this year. I mean, the one thing we just want, and I don't think it's wrong as a Huddersfield fan to say the least Huddersfield kind of expect at the level we should be is the second tier. I think that's how I think the size of our club. I think we're a second tier team at least, and then if we can push on, brilliant. But we just want to be competitive in the Championship, and the last few years it hasn't really been that.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, I said there on behalf of all of us that we kind of dampened our expectations. This is a difficult, league to get out of in general, no matter how long you're in there. I mean, have the expectations changed for you going into not just this season, but this game? Now we've got 2 games out of the way. I know it's only 2 games, and you don't want to get carried away with yourself, but from what we've seen, is there anything that maybe tweaks your expectations?
Not really. I think it was disappointing that already Maresca has had to come out and try and encourage our fan base to be patient, because in the game at the weekend against Cov, there were rumblings because of the style of football that, I mean, we thought it was pretty slow under Brendan at times, but there were times during that game against Cov where he took it to a new. To be honest, I thought Johnny Evans had come back at one point and was playing in goal.
Wait, your favourite player?
I know, but it's clearly, the instruction is, if you're winning the game, as we saw against Burton, just sit there and wait for someone to come and try and take the ball off you. And we just sit there, and then hopefully once you draw them out of position, then you go into your patterns of play or whatever, and we can cut through. It's going to be interesting against Huddersfield because I can't imagine Neil Warnock setting a team up to come and to just sit and watch us play. So I think they're going to be at us. And to be honest, that probably suits us more than if you just sat back. So it could be an interesting one. It's definitely a mix of styles. But I think if you got at us early on, it could be an interesting game because we're definitely a team that likes to take chances around the back. So if you put us under a lot of pressure, you could get some joy out of it. If we play through that press, then you could be in trouble.
Can I ask you a question, both of you? Like after 2 games, does it look like the players are taking on what he's asking?
Oh, definitely. They are. I think he's been probably pleasantly surprised at the reaction that he's got, and everybody's come out and been positive. I think there's the famous Leicester 6, as they are called now, that he talked about in the press, where 6 players who had indicated they wanted to leave have come back to him and said that they're now happy to stay because they're enjoying the way that they're playing football. Whether they'll all be happy to stay if they're not in the team is another matter. But you can clearly see there were areas and times, particularly against Coventry, when you could see clear patterns of play of what they were trying to do, draw people out of position, and then all of a sudden they're left with a spare man. And particularly the first goal against Cov with that, when Dennis Pratt found himself in acres of room to get a good cross in. So I think they're definitely taking it on board. I think we're a little bit exposed if we turn possession over. And that, if I was talking for an opposition manager, I would be looking to turn it over, but then move it very quickly. Because once we get reorganised, I think your chance would have gone.
Yeah, and not to play politics for you, Tom. I will answer your question, but the people in the comments have been waiting ever so patiently. I can hear them screaming, "Brad, put my comment on, please." A lot of them just saying hello, so I'll run through them. Ryan, Tom Bradshaw sent me here. He said, so one of you's been brought over. Nice to meet you, Ryan.
Nice one, Ryan.
I hope you enjoying the show. And he does like to confirm that he's the Town, not the Millwall player. So I'm glad we've cleared that up live on air. Don't worry, it's not like really. We'll edit it. I'll make sure everyone knows that. Michael says, "Hi, Chris," and then corrects himself and says, "Hi, Brad. How you doing, mate?" Nate's in the comments. He says, "Good evening, Brad, and you guys must be everyone." So good hello from Nate. He says, "Everybody." And this comment will load. James, good evening, James. He says, "Evening, Brad, evening all." And as he says here, hit them likes and subscribe button. It just helps grow the channel and get us recognised around it. And if you can see just down the bottom there, cheeky little plug, because you're going to get an in air quote quiz between you here while I go through these comments. Give you a little thinking time. We're going to play some brownie points, if you will, between you. How many games, and I'm going through our entire history. This is according to 11 versus 11. How many games do you think Leicester have played against Huddersfield Town? Don't tell me your answers yet. Let me go. When I get through these comments, I'm going to ask you individually how many games you think we've played against each other. But yes, do check out our sister channel, LTID TV2, the quiz channel. Go and show that support there for quiz shows. I want to give you a cheeky quiz, a cheeky plug. It works both ways. Scott says hello. How you doing, Scott? Hope you're well. Brad looks younger. Is it the old kit or a new shave? Bit of both, mate. This is I believe it was a 96 kit. I've got Is It on the back, so I know it's 96 at least because Is It signed for us in 96. I think it's 96 playoff of Orange Kit or the year before. I always get them seasons mixed up, but it is also clean shaven, which apparently takes 10 years off my life. I wish it did that literally, but it doesn't. Yes, James, your local team Tranmere, we've got a rematch for them in the cup. 20 watching. Yeah, make sure you're hitting the likes and getting that thumbs up and getting a sharing, subscribing. Shout it out to your neighbours. Say, oh, get on YouTube and watch this. Do whatever you need to help the channel. We appreciate it either way. I've been a fan of Warnock for a long time. Done well wherever it's been. I mean, whilst you're doing your calculations there, I can see you were working really hard to figure out my question. So I'm going to throw a spanner in the works for my quiz Champion League. Craig, we know in hindsight it's a wonderful thing. If Warnock was available when we got rid of Mr. Bellend, who I'm nowhere near the thing to play his infamous tune, otherwise I would do. Would you have taken Warnock during that period? See, that's thinking about it.
No, and that's nothing against Warnock, because I think if you've got a particular job to do and you need someone who can just organise you and start keeping some clean sheets so you stay in games to win points, then I think he's proven at what he's done. But I think to do that, you need the right kind of players. And we didn't have a squad of Warnock type players. So I don't think it would have worked at all. To be honest, we'd often said week in, week out that we didn't have much bottle in our team. And I think that's a minimum requirement for a Warnock team. So I don't think it would have worked, to be honest.
Craig, what's interesting though, he came into us and he openly said in the press, he said, there's no leaders in this team. He said, we haven't got enough leaders. So I don't know if that was a bit of, do you know what I mean, psychology to it was really interesting what he did last year when he came in, because he was so relaxed. Who's Mr. Bellend?
Mr. Bellend, right? No, this is.
I'm trying to think which manager it is here.
This Tom
Bellend.
Mr. Bellend.
I thought it was Brendan, but
yeah,
wasn't sure.
Yes, it's Craig. It's Chris's go-to joke when he gets mentioned. It's now a thing. When he wins, I hope I've said that right. Newcastle fan, I still have PTSD after games against Huddersfield in the Championship. Good luck to the town. So you got a supporter all the way from Newcastle.
True now,
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I did see a question from Scott, more for you than me, to be honest with you, because you'll be able to answer better than I. Craig, he says Brad and Craig, but this is for you. Do you think Martin Glover is doing well in his role?
I think time will tell. I think it'd be interesting to know how many of the people we've been looking at and the targets were already in the pipeline. I would imagine quite a lot, but then Maresca would have had to have given a green light and done a lot of studying of the players before we brought anyone in, I think. Directors of football and directors of recruitment have to be constantly having a list of players that they're interested in and monitoring and keeping tabs on all of this, where you think, we're getting rid of a player and they've got no idea of who they're going to bring in. I think there's constantly keeping tabs on players that they want to bring in, and it's just whether it's the right player at the right time for the right price, and the club will sell. But I think more and more, and I think more so with Maresca than Brendan, and I think this is where Brendan fell down. I think Maresca will look for character, and I think Brendan managed to put together a squad without characters. Much as you said, Tom, we had no leaders in our team. Or the leaders started to go. Schmeichel went, Morgan retired. So we never really replaced them with any vocal leadership on the pitch. Even Johnny Evans wasn't vocal. He had the experience, but he wasn't vocal. There was no one there that you thought would roll their sleeves up and start having a pop at each other. And that's why ultimately I think we ended up in the trouble that we did. We had enough talent in that squad that if there were 2, 3, 4 leaders, we would have ground out enough results, and we never could grind out a result. So I think Maresca will be looking at character and desire as much as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, and from Leicester fan channel here, he must be copying your notes, because he said here it's too early to judge Glover, my opinion, and he's pretty much hit the nail on the head. Spineless squad for a spineless manager. Okay, guys. a cheeky little plug that I did for the quiz there. Can I have your numbers? How many times? Because there's not many. Spoiler alert for those. So if you're thinking 300 or something, maybe narrow your guess down just a smidge. How many times do you think Leicester and Huddersfield have faced each other according to a 11v11? This is.
Is this including cup games, Brad?
This is according to the 11v11, is including cup games. Otherwise, I think we'd have about 12. Craig, I'll be honest with you. So go on. Guess before Beauty, or in this case, Tom, guess before Craig. How many games do you think?
I should know this because I did some stats for our podcast the other day, and I've kind of forgot it. I think I'm gonna because I have forgot. I know that Town have actually won more games than Leicester against Leicester. I think something like Town have won 26 and Leicester have won 23, so it's really close. So I'm gonna say it's been just over 68 games ish.
Well, you've got a little bit of inside information there because he's jobbed if he got these stats wrong. Craig, he's gone 68-ish. I'm not sure what that is in any foreign language. But 68.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that you made Tom go first because I was way out.
Where were you originally going to go then? Just so we know.
I was going to go really low because I was thinking that we would have played each other quite a lot in the 70s.
Well, these do include Leicester Foss as well. This record does include Leicester Foss days.
So I'm going to go 63.
63. Okay. Well, I can tell you that the comment section has gone 18. Scott has gone 32. James has also guessed at 26. Was it Bruce's Price is Right where someone got it right? The ding, 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 ding. Because Craig is exactly spot on.
Nice on, Craig.
63 games. And as Tom was also slightly correct in what he said, surprise, 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 Huddersfield have the better head-to-head. Leicester have 25 wins. There has been 10 draws between two clubs. And the losses, we have suffered 28 of them. So, yeah, there you go, 63 games. Craig takes the game show prize home, which is, I might let him leave early. I don't know. He can't because I need him till the end. But next time, we never know, Craig. I might let you go home early if you like.
Thanks, mate.
James says, hold on, Craig, there's your prize. James gives you a well done. That's all the prize you need from me because I can't afford to pay you anything because I don't get paid. So, we'll keep the quizzes going then because there's not a lot of history to go off. Tom, obviously last time out, do you remember the result?
Yeah, you beat us 4-1. Jamie Vardy scored 2 goals.
Yeah, so that was with some saltiness, wasn't it, Craig? A certain ex-Leicester goalkeeper was in goal for
God, don't even mention his name to Town fans.
Stop Hamer time, as Leicester fans said before they realised how it was pronounced. Craig, did you go to that game by any chance?
I think been there. Wait, was that the home game? I can't remember.
I think that was the away one. That was the away one.
I've not been to Huddersfield until Saturday coming, so I am going. So that'll be my first trip.
Sorry, first trip. Craig, from my friend Jess, we have seen one of them, the away day food things on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. I tell you what, Huddersfield, your pot pies and things that you have for I know probably not the right time of year to have them, probably a few months out from them being in circulation. I'm not sure you know, but they look delicious. If you get a chance to have one of them, mate, I want to hear your ratings about
pies
them.
Are good. The pies are good. The pies are good, but I would say the stand that the away fans in and where some of the Town fans in, the quality does vary. I would just warn you on that one.
All right, so we basically get the leftovers from the last game.
Basically, that seems to be
last May's pies, mate. They'll be stale, but they'll look delicious for you, mate.
Pies are good, though. Yeah, they are good.
Yeah. So, I mean, despite the record, though, I mean, it was, I must say, done a lot in our earlier years. I think we went 20 games without getting a win against you when we were Foss, and then took a few games when we changed our name to Leicester City to get a win. I have the exact competition here. Can you hazard a guess, either of you, as when the last time Huddersfield actually beat us in any competition, though?
I think I know this, but I didn't do this with my stats, Brad.
Oh, see, I've got a stat here. Get your pen and paper out, Tom. I'll get its stats for
I
you.
remember the night, and it was away at your spot, I think. And I think Sean Scannell scored the winner, didn't he? Was it in the cup? Was it in the FA Cup, a replay?
He is just like Craig with 63. You are exactly right, Tom. You beat us in a replay in the FA Cup 2013.
It stands out. See, that's the thing, Brad. It stands out for us because we haven't beat you for like in the recent years.
Yeah.
I remember going to your spot and losing like 4-2 when we just. I think it might be when you came down to League One and we'd just gone up.
Oh yeah, they were the good days, weren't they? The League One days. We love them, don't we, Craig? Bit of a harder trivia for you then, and it is the last one of here because I did struggle for trivia. I'm not going to lie. I hope your notes are longer than mine. Craig. Ant says you're already relegated and away and let you know it. Apparently, we were not nice to you on that day. Says he must have been there. Who does the best food? Leicester or Huddersfield? I haven't tried the Huddersfield food yet. It's on my agenda to go to their ground, but from what I can tell, I would say Huddersfield's on looks, but Leicester's not too shabby. It's been a while since I've had their food. Probably mail for the connoisseur of Craig to answer that question. But you said that was an FA Cup win, and it has been a long time. Answers from both of you. When was the last time Huddersfield beat us in the league? So I like to give you something to cheer about.
Go on, Craig, because I haven't got a clue.
Nearest wins a little prize. The prize is smugness.
I'm going to go back. Let's go back, shall we? Because like I say, we haven't played that much in the last couple of decades that I can think of. So I'm going to go way back, I think. 1975.
He's got 1975.
Yeah, I was going to go 70s as well. I was probably go 78 as a guess. That's a total guess because it feels we've had such big gaps, haven't we, where we've just not played each other.
Well, bizarrely enough, whilst you're in the right sort of zone, and it was a long time ago, there is somebody who is rather close, but it is neither of you. It is our man, our trusted man, Scott. 92. Now, he's got 92, and that's not right, but it is close. The last time we played in the league, and we also beat you then, it was a Huddersfield win. I've put Huddersfield League win, so it's what someone won the game. It was in 1995. So we must have been, that must have been, was that Premier League or were we in Division 1? Division 1.
What was Division 1, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it wasn't as long as we think it was, but before that time there was a big gap during the things. I mean, I did see a massive jump in the years beforehand, up to that, but it wasn't as surprising as far back as I can go, and that's all my stats. So Tom, unfortunately, I can't give you any more homework to add to yours. But yeah, I thought that was a little bit interesting. Some of the gaps between us was a bit sporadic. So we've got about halfway through the show, and obviously, Tom, you've been amazing to come on. I want to get a couple of questions to you first because Craig's got the bore of dealing with me for another half hour, so I'll give him a break. First of all, where's the danger areas for Huddersfield apart from not having a team, at level like you said earlier? I mean, where's the dangers? What should Leicester be really worried about when they take on Huddersfield? And then after that, I'll get you to give a cheeky score prediction.
Well, I think it's kind of what did us really well the end of last year was a set pieces. Goal didn't come directly from a set piece on last week, but it it came off the back of it kind of when we get us big lads up top. So I'd say you got to watch the set pieces. I don't think we look too bad down the flanks as well. I actually think Sorba Thomas and Josh Cromer, when they're on it, can look like really, really good championship players. So I'd say if they're getting it wide enough and that they're on form and they're trying to beat players, that could be interesting. Got a young lad, Diarra, who kind of plays this number 10 role. He bounces in and out. He's really good, quick feet. So I think I'd say those are the areas. I think if Hellick and Pearson get up, if hopefully Pearson's fit, he picked up a bit of a knock against Plymouth, but Hellick and Pearson in the air. I mean, Pearson, I think he was something stupid like 1 goal off as top scorer last year as a centre back. I mean, that tells you a lot about how bad we did last year. So, yeah, I'd say they're your danger areas for Saturday.
Right, get that over to Maresca, Craig. Get that information over.
I was gonna say, it's a good job that we're so strong at corners and set pieces, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah, it's a good job. Yeah, it's not like we've been struggling at home since God knows when, is it? It's not like our first goal this season was from a corner. No, we'll be all right.
Was it against Plymouth? I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong here. Was it the Plymouth goal where the guy basically just ran straight through the middle of your midfield? Because I would have thought Warnock wouldn't have been particularly happy with that.
Yeah. So if you're going on weaknesses, I mean, it's just like I said right at the top, you're lacking experience in the middle. Not even experienced. David Kasumi, who's unfortunately picked up an injury in pre-season. I don't know if he'll be all right for Saturday. I doubt it. But do you know what I mean? A player who's got something about him, who knows that role, is just taking him down there. Taking him down about 40 yards out, picking up a yellow card maybe. So it's just little things like that just need ironing out. That's my big worry massive worry for Saturday is how strong your midfield is compared to ours. It's insane.
We had a similar one where there was a breakaway for Cov, and I think it was Doyle who took the guy out in the middle of midfield. And me and my lad, who we go together, we was like, "That's such a Man City foul." That's where we got him on loan. That's where we got him on loan for, and they're well known for just breaking up anything with a foul.
That's it.
I think we showed a little bit that Man City irritants against Burton, didn't we? We were in that winning position, and the commentator was saying Burton aren't really going at us, but we didn't allow them. Like I said, we were able to pass the ball around. You can see that tweaks. You can see that. And I know we don't always like it when they come with that tag, Maresca, he looks like Pep and plays like Pep, but it's nice to see, isn't it, Craig? We've needed that in that area.
Well, it's been really interesting that a lot of the players have come out and said how refreshing it is that they've got a manager with a clear plan.
Yeah, and
yeah. I was going to say, I'm not sure what this is about our previous incumbent.
Yeah, I think a few of them were trying to say it nicely, weren't they? That we've got a really good coach and not a league. I'm not going to get tired of pressing that button. Get used to it, folks. Please stay. Don't leave. I'll stop. Please stay. No, but honestly, so I mean, you obviously haven't had the best of starts. The defeat to Plymouth, the Mickey Mouse Cup. I mean, it's still a major cup to us until we go out, but it's a Mickey Mouse Cup for you because you lost the game. But you're at home. We're still getting the engine started. Coventry proved that if you can get in behind us and get us on the back foot, Craig, we said after the game, you probably wouldn't have begrudged Coventry getting a result from us that day. And that's it. No worries, mate. You do what you need to do, Craig. I've just seen your message there. I don't know if you watched the game at all. You're probably putting your feet up or crying into your cereal after the performance against Plymouth. But what's your score prediction? And are you confident at all that you can maybe land that first blow on Leicester? Because obviously the ship's got to take a dent at some point for Leicester, and are you hoping that Huddersfield can deliver it?
At the start of the week, I actually said on our podcast we're probably gonna lose the game. I think I predicted 3-1. But I think that Matt, who runs the podcast, he was very optimistic, and I've kind of come around to the way we're speaking a little bit, and I have a bit of optimism going into it, just because, like you said, Brad, I mean, you're coming down, you've come down. I think it works in the way we were talking about Plymouth. They've gone up in the optimism. When a team come down as well, they know what they've got to do, but with a new manager, there's still that structure to find out, and it just sits there as one of those kind of, bloody hell, if Warnock's going to do something here, it just seems like, oh, maybe we'll nick a 1-0, 2-1 win or something like that. I mean, the teams we played look, they're nothing to what you lads have on paper, which is which is insane. But the teams that we beat at the end of last year with pretty similar squad we've got. I mean, that's the disappointment so far. We haven't really strengthened on what we had last year. You never know with Warnock. It's just the big worry in the middle. So it's kind of like, I think if we can keep the ball out of the middle, play wide as much as possible, hold you back, let you have the ball. Really, if you want the ball, just let him have the ball. I know Craig mentioned it at the start, and it's kind of like, are they going to press? Are they not? I mean, sometimes our press is really good, and against Plymouth, it was really good but I think Warnock knew that they would make mistakes, and they did, and it's really annoying. I was saying to you, Brad, before we went on, Town actually played really well, and when I was watching it, I was like, oh, God, we could have been 3-4-1 up at half time because Plymouth were trying to play it out of the back, and we press him, we won the ball back, we 1-on-1 with a keeper. It's like just silly things like that. So prediction, let's go a nice 1-1 for I'd take a draw. I'd massively take a draw. I just want to get some points on the board at the moment.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I've said it on the show, and we talked backstage for it live. I don't think you read too much into losing to a newly promoted side. It's like an FA Cup third round banana skin. Like I said, everybody barring yourselves wants it to happen, and when it does happen, it's twice as worse. And you're playing, you know, even if I take the blue tinted glasses off, some people might say you're playing the strongest side in the Championship. I mean, the commentators last night themselves said it's the strongest Championship team they've seen in probably a long time, if not since its dawning of the Championship. And I think you kind of got to take it. I just think, you know, the only time maybe Huddersfield maybe worry is if we do go out there and it's only his second league game in charge and we do go and give you a romping. But the other side, I still wouldn't be too bothered if we got a point, Craig. You know what to say when your home games get a point away from home. Would you be happy with a point, or are you expecting them to make it, get it won?
No, to be honest, I'd be happy with a point. I think clearly if we both play to, you know, our strengths, I would think that we would have enough to create enough chances, you know, to win it. But it's how we stand up to, you know, the physical. And I'm not tarring you as just a physical team because you've got more than that. But I think you'll certainly be more aggressive than we will be. But then we did see a little bit more aggression from our guys against Coventry, to be honest. So I think he may be trying to instill a little bit more steel in there as well. But I think if you allow us to play our football, then I can see us, you know, getting a win. But a draw wouldn't be a bad result because we do need to try and maintain a level of consistency, and you don't want to be winning one, losing one. You know, so as you said, Brad, if we can win at home and pick up the points away, that should be pretty good enough, I would imagine. But I'm expecting a tough game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Craig, I know you're in the prediction league, which will be getting its reveal tomorrow, and how everybody's done in that. Go make sure you're checking that out, and if you're involved, I'm sure you're waiting on that. But what score are you going for in the game?
I just had to check what I'd gone for, to be honest, but I think I went 2-1 Leicester.
You've gone 2-1 Leicester, and I am going to go big, as I always do, because I never learn, but it wins me titles. Ask Chris or Steve Linex. They know about me winning titles. I've gone 4-0 to Leicester. I feel that, I don't know if it'll be a false dawn, but I think we'll get that confidence ride, because I'm still thinking that Leicester we're almost waiting to the, you know, I mean, it could go tits up on Saturday, but if we win on Saturday, I think then Leicester fans will start waiting for that first challenge where someone takes a point off us or beats us, and then we'll see how we respond. Scott,
I think it's interesting. Sorry, I think it's interesting that. It's interesting that we're still being heavily linked with a couple of players, loan signings. Obviously, the guy from Chelsea looks like it's pretty much over the line.
Funny enough, I was about to ask you that because Scott's asked that in the comments. Do you think we'll get any more time? So do continue. I just wanted to make Scott feel appreciated for he's reading my notes. Is Scott? He must be. I must stop sending him the copy. Go on, Craig.
Yeah, this Cassidy looks like he could be a real talent, to be honest. And it looks like that's virtually over the line, even though by all accounts, I think Lazio came in late. But Golden Boot and Golden Ball winner, I think, at the recent Under-20 World Cup for Italy. Looks a real good prospect. 6'1" as well. Young kid, but a physical presence. And then heavily linked with a young winger who was at Charlton last year from Palace. And I think that's the sort of balance that we're a little bit missing, with that little bit of creativity that we've lost with Maddison. And for years we've been trying to find a good replacement for Mahrez. So if those two drop, then I think we'll be strengthened. And I'm not sure about one's leaving. To be honest, it looks like Castagna's going to go. I would imagine Suter's going to maybe go on loan. But I don't expect too many outs, to be honest. Now I think you don't want to be going right up to the window. I think we did really well getting most of our work done early on. We got the players who were going to go, we got out, and we got our manager in. And if you look at the likes of Leeds and Southampton, it all seems to be imploding around them as the window's closing. Southampton, holding out for ridiculous amounts of money for their players, are basically just hurting themselves, because they're going to end up going and they're going to leave themselves very little time to get replacements in, I think. Whereas we said we probably could have got a bit more money for Barnes and definitely a bit more money for Maddison if we decided to hold out. But we thought we'll take what's on offer, money in the bank. Let's go and get the players who we want. And I think we'll probably benefit from that, from having a bit more of a settled team at the start of the season than some of our bigger rivals.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one, if you said dream scenario with a new manager and you want business done quickly, and I'm at the point where I'm probably a little bit surprised we haven't let more players go early and try and sell for them, but we're not in a position where we really need to, because financial fair play with them the few we've sold as well, taking it up to 10, 11, have really helped us. So I don't see too many going. I mean, Castagna had a smile on his face, so it doesn't necessarily mean the end of him, and then rumours died off. But yeah, it'll be an interesting one. Me and Craig have gone for a win for Leicester. Tom's gone for a draw. Tom, I'm going to let you get off so you can have yourself some peace. But first, I want to say thank you very much for coming on and dealing with us, giving you jibes, telling you about 4-1 defeats and whatnot. Although I did give you a FA Cup win in there to try and make you feel better. Everybody who's watching, don't worry. There's still a bit of the show to go. Craig's going to go through his lineup prediction for me and formation with us in a sec. But Tom, before I let you go, just let everybody know where they can go and support you and your socials, mate, and your channel.
So we're the and he takes that chance podcast. We're on Twitter and Instagram and all that jazz. On Spotify. And I would say if you want a nice pint before the game on the Saturday, go to Magic Rock Brewing. There's a really good brewery in Huddersfield that's quite hidden away. It's worth the look.
Well, there you go. You perked up Craig's ears. He heard that. He was awake for that one. There you go, guys. Do go and show Tom and his podcast a lot of love and support. Go over there, give him the support by whatever means necessary you can. Tom, thank you very much for coming on and joining me and Craig and keeping us company and keeping the show alive. I would wish you good luck, but like Chris used to say, I wouldn't mean it. But after that, I hope you do very well this season. Good luck. Good luck with the season, mate.
Cheers, Brad. Nice to see you, Craig. See you in a bit. Good luck. Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Right. And that was Tom, the talking clock, I nearly said then, because my brain won't function. Let me sort these out again. There we are. Craig, I hope you've got your notepad ready with all your team selections. Now, I hope you've taken note of our injuries, because there is a certain issue with the goalkeeping department. Yeah. I don't know if you've taken that into selections. We are going to do that. I need to figure out which screen it is that'll make it better. No, because that gets rid of Craig. No,
That's good. That's not so good.
just that. No. I tell you what, then. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do it the way where we'll come off the screen. Before you tell us that, though, I have to organise myself, and I swear, as the shows get on, I will get better at doing this. But if you wish to check us out on your podcast while you're heading over and giving Tom support, you can obviously follow us on our social medias, which are just all down there: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Make sure you're following the Leicester Till I Die TV, the LTID TV ones, and none of the personal accounts, because we just won't accept you on them. But as you can see there, you've got Spotify, Pinterest, and all the other major brands. And for those of you that are wondering, can I become a member and what benefits do I get? Because you can become a member for just $1.99. Here are the benefits. You get loyalty badges and emojis, member shout outs. You will get always shouted out for your comments as a member. Exclusive YouTube posts come to just you if you are one. Exclusive YouTube quizzes that Chris does. The Who Am I quiz that is constantly up on there. We will be doing some member only shows. You do get a guest slot, and there is something else there, but I've skillfully managed to block it off. So I'll just take this down for a second. Discounted merchandise, terms and conditions obviously apply if you become a member. Now I'll pop this back up. I'll hide the banners apparently because I want to do that. But if you are going over, I will get there, Craig. I'll slowly get there. If you are heading over to go and support out Tom's channel on all the podcast platforms, then you might as well go and check out LTID TV on them. And here's where.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Something is coming. Something big to this podcast.
Hello, Chris.
And of course, before we get over, you have to remember that this show is entailed with TalkSport.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.
There you go. You check us out there and obviously on all the podcast platforms. But now we come to the fun part. The part that we didn't do last week because it was our first show. We wanted to keep it nice and simple, didn't we, Craig? You've got to deal with me trying to host it with you, so you got all that. Then James says, intense game, can see it pan out. He's gone 2-1 Leicester. Scott says, very interesting team selection. Think like a normal, me and Craig will disagree. You and Scott not getting on? No, never such a thing. Goalkeeper Iverson, I just think experienced 26. Still check on the sub bench. Well, you might already be disagreeing with him with one. I don't know. But I'm going to add it to the stream. It's going to go above us because it wants to. But can I do it where it's a bit bigger? I want to see if I can get it on here with us. Because if not, it's going to be a pain in the backside to do, isn't it? Is it going to? No one wants to see us that close. Gordon Bennett. I cannot seem to be able to do it with just us two, mate.
You had it earlier, didn't you, when we were all down the left-hand side?
Yeah, of course I could find it then, and I can't do it now. Is that going to do it? No, yeah, I hate technology. I can understand why Chris gave me the job.
Feel free to take me off the screen.
Right. Question, have we gone big screen now? Can you just see one screen, or is that just me? Is that just us? Oh,
I can see you, me, and the team is sitting above it.
All right, let's go to this. How about now? Can you see the team? No? Oh, for God's sake. I do apologise. We had it figured out, didn't we, Craig? We had it figured out. Well, I had it figured out.
Oh, this is looking better.
Here we go. There we go.
There we go.
It might not be as big as I can hopefully do it, but it allows me to sort of switch between. Craig, I did not get the team sheet up in number order. I can't change the goalkeeper number, but your number one choice. Now there is talk that Hemaderson is not fit for the game, although Maresca being ever coy has said we will see. Craig, I want to hear your team firstly. What is your formation?
Well, I think it's clear that he seems to prefer a 4-3-3. So let's go with that.
You're going to stick with a 4-3-3. So what I'm going to do is, because I said to myself, I said, Brad, what you might want to do is you might want to get the team sheet up so you can get the team numbers and change it around. And my brain apparently went, no, don't need that. So I do apologise if you can see the numbers and you're wondering why maybe number 1 is not who I said they would be. But Craig, we've got a 4-3-3 there. Bit wonky, but it's the best I can do. Who are we having in goal?
Well, I mean, I hope that he's fit, to be honest. I'm not sure, but I do hope he's fit, because I think we're going to see throughout the season he's more and more integral to the way that Maresca wants to play. And I fully take on board what Scott said about having Everson in, and I can fully agree with that because of the experience. But Maresca, I think what he showed in his team selection at Burton, that he seems to prefer Stolarczyk as his understudy, just because of his ball playing. And I'm not convinced myself. He took a few chances that I didn't like. So I'm going to be optimistic, and let's put her Madison in, or whatever his name is.
Brilliant, which is exactly what I should have done this one, because I do not know how you spell his name. Genius, Brad. Let me just Leicester City.
Hermanson, something like that. We should know, shouldn't we?
Yeah, you think I'd be organised, mate? You think I would be organised? So you've gone for a 4 at the back, Chris. Craig? Why I just learn how to type a name. Left back is, who are we going for? We saw Justin play a full 90. Well, it was a full 90 minutes yesterday, wasn't it? I believe. Is he in contention for you? I know Christensen is still struggling with a knock, so he's not in contention. Does he stay in the team for you, or is that someone else?
Because I'm trying to judge it between what I would like and then trying to pick the players that fit the way that Maresca is going to play, which is a tricky one. Cheers, James.
Yeah.
So,
my job here.
Yeah, I'm going to put Justin in.
You are going to put Mr. James Justin in, and guess what? As skillfully as I have managed to bring it up whilst I drag that question out, it helps that Justin wears the number 2. So you've gone James Justin keeping his spot. Now then, we come to the centre back pairing. I'm going to go. I mix up my left and my right, so we're just going to go for one pairing here. We know Connor Cody is still out. Again, Enzo was pressed. How long? He said at least a couple more days or weeks. They're still having an issue figuring out what's with the foot. So we know Cody's not available. It does obviously mean that Harry Souttar, who, yet again, I'm not saying there's a blame here, but a third manager has had to make an excuse for Souttar. He asked about Souttar, and his answer was it was purely technical reasons he's not been picked, nothing else. Obviously, the press are linking him with a return to the bell end. So you've really got Doyle, Faze, and Vestergaard to pretty much choose from centre back pairing. Who are you going with? Though?
I think Maresca will pick Doyle as left back and Vestergaard. That's who I think he will pick. But I'm going to put Doyle in. I'm going to put Doyle in as the left centre half.
You're going to pick Doyle in, which has made me feel nervous. Despite me not to eat a dose of humble pie suggests that the Doyle Vestergaard is a liability, but he's doing the job that I reckon Connor Cody's going to be asked to do once he's fit. Yeah. So
I agree. Vestergaard is better on the ball than probably any of the others, but for me, he's not physical enough. And this is Huddersfield. This is a Warnock team. I think we need a little bit more physicality and a little bit more pace. And Vestergaard was shown up for his pace against Cov.
Yes, he was. Although you could argue that maybe Doyle didn't help him out too much at points in that time. But he did make up for it. He did get a block on a few shots.
Yeah.
So are we sticking with Vestergaard, or are we seeing Mr. Matt Elliott in disguise, Wout Faze? Which one are you going for? Because I'm assuming
I'm
here.
going to go Faze.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm assuming here you're not going Sutar, but we never know.
No.
So
No,
yeah,
Faze.
You make me feel a lot less nervous, because despite the praise I did rightfully give him, because he did play well, considering everything I've said about him, I'm very thankful that you're picking Faze. So
I thought he played very well against Burton, to be honest. They were a bit more physical, and I thought he was very good against Burton.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Martin O'Neill, who was in a draw, doing a draw, an ex-Leicester legend manager to a lot of people, if not everybody. But Wout Faze, I've quoted him as like the Steve Walsh / Matt Elliott of that era, because we had a lot of injury troubles up the top end of the pitch during a part, didn't we, Craig? It was like Marshall, Claridge, Tony Cottin, and Heskey were all injured at one point, and he threw Elliott and Walsh up front on occasions, didn't he? Even sometimes as the last roll of the dice, and I've seen that from Faze. That looks very promising, doesn't it? That he's allowing him a free rein.
Yeah, I think the idea is that, that if there's space to go into, he wants his players to go into it. And it's up to the others to be intelligent enough to cover off. So that's where we're going to get caught out, turning the ball over and we're not having the cover in the right places. But I think it's one of those where we're going to have to be patient and accept that we are going to mess up a few times.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's not like we're not accustomed to it, is it, Craig? We've seen it throughout the season. Someone used to say it'll be all right on the night. Ricardo Pereira has taken that position as his own. Despite the smiles on the bench yesterday, there is obviously talks of Castagne leaving us. Is it just an easy pick? Do I just put Ricardo in now, or are you going to throw a spanner out there and say someone else?
No, I think he's been solid so far. I think he's picked up that particular role that Maresca wants him to play, where he steps into midfield and creates the second holding or deeper midfield player really well. So I think he'll be one of the first names on the team sheet.
There you go. There's the back four completed for you, Craig. And I must say, I mean, we'll probably say this about someone else when we get into the midfield who you probably might pick. Contrast to how he was over the last 8 or 9 months under Brendan. I know he suffered with injuries. Let me just get rid of that comment there. I know he suffered with his injuries at the time, but there's a certain player, I'm sure you know who I'm on about, in the midfield who's dipped off a bit. Seems to be given a new lease of life under Enzo, doesn't he? Seems back to his best a little bit. I don't want to jinx it, but he does seem to have been taken to this role that he's been given, where he has to come in the middle a bit as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, I think he's looking pretty solid, to be honest, and he's playing with a smile on his face, which is good.
Yeah, it is always good when they are like that. Now, what I'm going to do is save myself a lot of time and effort in pointlessly changing a number. I don't want to make assumptions here, and the reason I put this in here in this sort of defensive diamond is because of the way this man plays. And again, assumption is the mother of all F-ups, but is a certain number 8 going straight into your team? Very impressive, Harry Winks. Who have you got in your midfield, Chris? Craig, I will get your name right. Give us one of your names. Are you going to keep us in suspenders about?
Definitely Harry Winks. I've been very impressed so far.
Already got himself a song, hasn't he? I heard yesterday. It wasn't the hardest song to remember, but it's a good song. I've heard he's becoming quite a favourite.
Yeah, he's. The only thing he's doing so far, and hopefully his touch will come out, is when he sees a gap, he does like to run with it and go through and carry the ball. And he has a tendency to just overrun it a little bit. And I think you could probably say that about most of our midfield, to be honest, that their first and second touches aren't bad, but the third is usually giving it away because they've overrun it. But apart from that, he reads the game really well. He gets his head up all the time, which is really important. So when he receives it, he's ready to offload it again. So very impressed so far, and he should be able to run the show in the Championship most weeks, I would think.
Yeah, he definitely looks stellar. But I said when Chris asked me originally What do I think of Winks? I'd said the Championship's probably his level for him to gain his ground a bit, in and out of that Spurs mix. Some Spurs fans were a bit gutted that he got let go to us. I think he's just a level to find his feet. It's a perfect opportunity for him, and fingers crossed if we return, that's what will happen to him. Probably come to a slightly difficult part of the field, the two centre mids. I will get your right-sided one first, Craig, because we've seen the return of Hamza Chowdhury, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, obviously a 2-goal hero. We've yet to see Boubakary Samari get a start, but Ndidi, Pratt have all shown and showcased. Maybe someone like Pratt, we kind of knew deep down that he could do it, and what he was capable of. And wouldn't allow us to see that often. But it's where are we going, Craig? Who are we putting in that midfield maestro pairing?
I mean, I'm putting Dewsbury Hall in, but Dewsbury Hall's going to be on the left of those two. That's another shoe-in to be it's the third player is the key one in this, and so Dewsbury Hall on the left, and I think this is So this is this other midfielder. I think this is where Cassidy may get the shout when we get him over the line. To be honest, for next week, obviously not for this week. He's played Ndidi, and Ndidi has sort of taken to it and making his foraging runs forward. But I don't think he's good enough on the ball. He's good at winning it back, and if you're trying to win it higher up, then maybe that's why he's moved him forward. I think so. We can try and win the ball higher up, but I'm not sure he's good enough on the ball. So this front four, I'm going to take a little bit of a punt on. So on the right midfield, I'm going to put Dennis Pratt in.
Oh, so you're going for the right
midfield. Yeah, where you got 6 in it. Yeah, not that one.
Yeah, I knew that. I was testing me. Matt. Oh, the forgotten man, the unsung hero, everybody's sort of fans' favourite, isn't he? He's one we've always liked and wanted to see get an opportunity. We maybe felt when one Belgium left, this Belgium would step in, and he's done really well. He's got an assist, played well against Burton. Yeah. So you've gone Dennis Pratt, and I've spelt that wrong because I've got the A the wrong way around. I told you I'm organised, I'm professional. It's not live, I can edit it. It's fine. So Dennis Pratt, Dewsbury Hall, no space for Wilfred Ndidi. You're thinking Pratt is the better man for the job against Huddersfield. Well,
I'm just thinking he'll use the ball better.
Yeah, you maybe see Ndidi being the sub then on that occasion, maybe taking them off, give them a rest. I think so. There we go. Well, we have two names that you couldn't say when you probably had a few beers, which is Ndidi. So thankfully, you've made sure I don't have to say that name too many times. But then we've got Mavin Ndidi. We have a few winger choices. Is Mavin Ndidi going straight back into the team after his performance against Cobham? It was a impressive home debut for me. So
I think so. I think I'm a little bit. I wasn't as effusive in my praise as most people were, because I think early on in the game he didn't get past his fullback. It was only when Mark Robins took the fullback off that Mavididi came into the game. And it may be that he ran him around a lot and he was a little bit tired and got a bit of a hamstring pull or something. But once Robins had made that change, I think that's where we won the game, to be honest. I don't think his subs worked for him at all.
That former Fox paying them a favour. You got to love it.
Yeah. So, Mavididi in back down on the left wing. And what I did like was the fact that he kept going at his fullback. It didn't matter if he didn't get by him. Now we know Barnes, I think the stat came out that Mavididi had 4 take-ons during the game. The most Barnes had in any game last season was 2. Because usually what he did was, if he didn't get by his fullback first time, he didn't bother again. Whereas Mavididi just kept trying. That's what Maresca wants. And Maresca's come out from and said that in the week. And I think that's why he's trying to pick up the kid from Crystal Palace. He wants his wingers to stay wide He doesn't want them coming in off the touchline, and he wants them to get one-on-one and take on their fullbacks. So, that's why he's looking for players that fit what he wants. And so Mavididi straight back in.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious choice. I mean, we're light on numbers on that side, and we know Albrighton could go over on the left side and do a job for us, but it's not. I think we know he's going to be the impact player, isn't he, for Leicester? He's not going to be the pace merchant at the start. So that probably the talking point after the Burton game. So we'll save the striker side. I'm interested to see who you put on the right, because I'm going to call him Marseille, because saying his last name is very difficult for somebody who can barely speak English at the best of times for myself, it seems. Played okay. I thought, like Casey McAteer, took a while to grow into it. Maybe, understandably had a bit of nerves. It was his first start for Leicester. I know he's not had a league start for us. Does that impact your decision at all, or are we going to experience with Albrighton on the right here? Where are we going with this right winger?
Yep, neither of them. Now, I know I've just said that Maresca likes his wingers staying out wide, but I'm putting in someone who I think is more intelligent and can take up some interesting positions. And, we talked about, we're trying to find a Mahrez replacement. There's one player at the club who always looks to cut in on his left foot and get a shot off. So for me, I'm playing Iheanacho out there.
Oh, Craig, you've made my day. If anyone knows me, knows my love affair with Nacho, he is my boy. He's my favourite player, and I really hope if after we get these loanies in, the next news I hear is Iheanacho signed an extension on his contract, because he is a favourite. And I'm, this may be a shock, but I agree with you actually, Craig. I agree. Iheanacho might not naturally won't stick to that wing, because he's definitely no pace merchant to do the job that Mavididi can do on the left side for us. But he does hold that ball up well. I know sometimes he gets confused over his feet, but I do feel that he could benefit from having that free roam, kind of what Maddison got when he was technically out there, didn't he? He had a free roam to go into the middle and collect it. A bit of a surprise one, but I'm you know what? If Enzo leaves the post, get Craig in. Do you think?
I would imagine there's Iheanacho scored more of his goals coming in off the left side, and scoring with his left foot. So it's a natural for me. I take what you say there, Nate. Yeah, that's why I think he's going for him. I think he'd be really excited. Yeah, I think he's a perfect fit. If you've got Mavididi left, him on the right, and then that Cassidy coming in from deep, I think it's a really exciting front line. Yeah. So number 9.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's just because it was 1 to 11. That is not. Yeah. That's not a hint, because some may argue that our current number 9 is but a legend of the club, but needs to let go of that torch. He needs to take both hands off that torch and pass it. Now, the man I thought you may be fine to put in here, you've actually put on the right. There's rumours now that it will be Daka going Everton, not Iheanacho. They've swapped between our strikers. They've gone after all 3 of them at one point.
Yeah, they have.
The question is, is Vardy passing the torch in this game for you? Is it a chance to give Daka a showcase? Because we know Vardy's not going to play 46 games. It's going to be more than that, because we've already played 1 cup game. We've got another one to go. So that's 48. If we get through Tranmere, it's, we're 50 games if you include getting to round 3 and the FA Cups. He's not going to play 50 games. He's no spring chicken. His sideboard legs have worn off, and he is fully human, it turns out. I know he wasn't used properly last season, and that's not really too much to judge him on. But is he holding a place in your starting 11, Craig, here? Or is it time we give Daka the chance to shine? Give him a confidence, let him rebuild him. Or are you just saying, no, main man Vardy?
No, for me, Daka. I don't think you can play Daka anywhere else. He's a centre forward. He's an instinct player. If you play him anywhere, we saw him against Northampton, to be honest, when he tried to play him out wide, and it just doesn't work. When he's got time to think, he's not a bad link-up player, and him and Iheanacho have linked up pretty well, as we saw in the Yeah, in the Europa League, I think they in the conference they linked up really well. So for me, if you've got players who are coming deep, but you've got a threat in behind, then I think that suits Daka. I think it suits our team, particularly on a team that are going to be aggressive, who are going to come on a little bit, which I think Warnock will want them to. I think they either sit back and leave a lot of space for our midfield to run riot, or they try and push up and leave a lot of space in behind. So for me, Daka through the middle is a much better player, twice the player he is playing anywhere else. So for me, I think it's time to give Daka a run.
Well, there you have it, folks. No room for Vardy at this party in Craig's eyes. I know it might be a bit difficult to see. It's the best we could do to screen without me having to remove Craig and myself and put it on the screen and faff around that way. But if you haven't been able to, if you haven't been able to see, you know what he's built. But here's Craig's team. He's gone for a 4-3-3 formation, and providing he is fit, he's sticking with Hermanson in goal. He has James Justin playing on the left. He has Doyle and Matt Elliott, aka Wout Faze, as his partner at centre back. Ricardo Pereira keeping his spot at right back. He has the absolute machine that is Harry Winks, who's already become a fan favourite. Goal scoring master Dewsbury Hall keeps his position in the side, but he has made a few changes, and this is where they start to happen. Dennis Pratt is given a start in Craig's eyes. He should be given a start over Wilfred and Didi. I think it's warranted. A couple of assists, a couple of good plays. So I can't argue with there, Craig. You make my team, to be honest with you. So Craig changed it up there. Mavididi goes straight back into the side on the left wing after an impressive debut with Coventry for Craig's side. But here's the interesting changes. Jamie Vardy is not invited to his own party. Patson Daka has been given a second chance to shine. I think he deserves it as well. I think he if he's going to be here in the long run, and we say about Pratt giving the chance now. There's no Yuri here blocking his path. Now Vardy is still here, but not going to be able to play as many games. You've got to play him, and I think, like you said, his link-up play with the man you've put on the right has shown that it can reap benefits. Strange selection, but with the idea that Iheanacho will come here, probably go into a 2 while the body's pushed forward. You've gone with Iheanacho on the right wing. Not natural, but as you suggested, Craig, the idea is if you were to put him there, he's not actually going to be out too much on that right wing. He's going to be doing what he did, what he does well, which is hold up the ball. He's going to be closer to Daka to supply him, and we've seen it work, the pair of them together. Interesting lineup, Craig, but I am very, very impressed with your lineup there. I don't have one myself, so you win the competition hands down as well. Optimus Brawler, hi, not seen you in here before. I hope you're well, and hope you're doing all the good stuff like subscribing and liking. You've enjoyed it. We've not had anything to suggest that he might not play, so I've based this with Craig. Cody we know is not fit. Christensen wasn't fit. But I kind of gave Craig the option that Enzo made it seem like he was optimistic he would be available for the game. So on that one, he has gone with Mads to go and goal. But you did say, Craig, didn't you? If he isn't, then it would be Iverson you would go with. So that's your answer.
I would, but I think Maresca will go with Stolarczyk.
You know what, Craig, this is going to get scary because maybe it's the years we've been working together, but I'm starting to agree with you a lot. I don't know what's going on. But there you have it, guys. That has been the preview show for Huddersfield. We're hoping the Foxes can tear the Terriers apart. Yes, I did rehearse that. You can always tell I did because I didn't stutter over my words. Craig, as always, it's been a joy to have you on, holding this show up and keeping the viewers here entertained while they have to deal with this muggins. I'm just going to remove this from the stream now. I can get rid of that. Hey, there you go. You get us all full face. And if you're on podcast, you're thinking, thank God for that. I'm not having to see the faces. But, Craig, it's been a joy to have you on, as always. Looking forward to the game. You've gone for a 2-1 win. Long may the run continue. Hey, Craig.
Indeed. Let's hope so. Let's hope it's another entertaining game.
Yeah, let us hope so. Thank you to everybody who's been coming in the comment section. I love cutting you up, apparently, Craig, as you're about to say something. He's probably going to insult me. It's why I do it. But a massive thank you to everybody in the comment section that's joined along. We had a little bit of fun and a laugh with the quiz, didn't we, Craig? You won a Bruce's Price is Right, didn't you? You did.
63. I'm taking that.
Yeah, he's taking that. He's going to add that to his leaderboard on the quizzes. He's going to ask for a bonus point. I'll have to strengthen your questions because you, Craig, when we can organise it between us, I know you're a busy man, you will be coming on to the sister channel, LTID TV2, the quiz show. See, I'm practicing. I'm getting there. You are going to be the next contestant on there when we can squeeze you into your busy schedule. Might have to come up with some harder questions for you, mate, at this rate.
No, you don't.
Keep them nice and easy, he says. Yeah, you won't have Google on your side, will you? That's what it is, Craig. That's what you're saying to me. Oh dear. But
I mean, I've watched a bit of them, and it's a tough quiz. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, great to have you on. Do go and show support to both channels because we could do all sorts of Leicester stuff on there. Football. Well, we just like to talk football, so why not make 2 channels of it? But thank you to everybody who's joined us in today. Come on, you foxes. Let's hope we can keep the win going. And to everybody, take care and see you next time. Good night.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.